Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? Apparently back for blood. The Left 3 Dead. no one's gonna call it Left 3 Dead. The Left 4 Dead kind of sequel, but sort of not really sequel, but like wink wink, nudge nudge sequel. I reached 6 million players, as I just found out on r/games. That's right, I use Reddit to get my news. No, I don't really. I do it to get my gaming news sometimes, but that's about it. Hello there everyone, right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:07 PM on Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. No news today, but yeah, Back 4 Blood's interesting. I haven't actually played it. I've seen a little bit of gameplay from it, and it basically does look like it sort of carries on the legacy torch, I suppose, that's been held from the previous Left 4 Dead versions, which I suppose does entice me to kind of play it. It does seem to have new sort of like more modern day systems tacked on. There's some sort of like I can't even remember how it works. It's like some sort of perk system, like in Dead by Daylight or something along those sort of lines. I don't really recall the exact details of it because I didn't look into it too much. I sort of just had it on in the background. We don't have Red visiting today. Wait, what day is it today? It's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Just for a second, I was like, I wonder if today's the actual day. I wonder if today's actually Sunday. In which case no one would be here, but no, we do have someone here. We got a grape umbrella, we got all this good stuff. We were just gonna go about our usual Nook Marvish farming. But yeah, Left 4 Dead is a game which I suppose I do hold quite dearly to my heart. Perhaps dearly to my heart is a little bit too strong a phrase, but it's a game I've basically had a lot of fun playing before. I played the original Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 with some of my friends. I think it must have been back in secondary school, if I think about it. Yeah, that sounds about right. So sometime during secondary school, and it's a really fun game. If you don't know what Left 4 Dead is, I'm shocked, to be honest, because it feels so ubiquitous and it's so cheap that if you have like a group of friends that you just want to play, like a group of 4 friends or up to 4 friends, I suppose you want to play some sort of cooperative game for. Left 4 Dead is the shooter game for it, probably. I mean, your mileage may vary, I suppose, depending on what you're looking for in a game, but it's certainly one of them, and it's certainly up there, I would say. But it's a zombie survival game. It's, to be honest, story-wise, it seems not that like mind-blowing or anything. It's a zombie apocalypse. There's zombies. There's some mutated zombies, and some of them are like super-powered zombies, which with special powers, like which can incapacitate you if they grab onto you, or can like control you and move you around, or like if they spit on you, you attract more zombies. Story-wise, you don't really need to care too much. It's quite simplistic. Otherwise, you have 4 characters who sort of like band together. Turns out they're kind of like immune to the zombie virus, and they're just trying to get from one area of the USA all the way over to another one and help them out. There is story. Don't go on. I don't mean to write it off like, oh, it's not interesting, because they do have comics, I believe, in typical Valve fashion. They have comics which accompany them, which are pretty interesting to read. I don't really remember any of them apart from the Bill one, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But the long and short of it, Left 4 Dead is just a really fun cooperative shooter, a first-person shooter game where you're just fighting along hordes and hordes of zombies, just like, you know, doing your best to survive in a very chaotic sort of situation, but also there's strategy to it which helps you, you know, like make plans and, well, survive the entire situation rather than just sort of like point and click. So I played it a lot with my friends. You might be like, hey, what's your, I don't know, favourite gun in the game? It's got to be the automatic shotgun. What's your favourite, what do they call, like, grenades? Like, wait, hold on, what grenades even are there? There's the pipe bomb, there's the Molotov, and there's the bottle grenade, right? I don't know which one I like best. Maybe the pipe grenade? But anything which attracts zombies away from me and in another area, fantastic. Which is my favourite special infected to fight. I think the witch is quite fun. It's very sort of atmospheric and it's very sort of different, I suppose, to everyone. You know, I'll give a quick rundown of a special infected if you haven't played Left 4 Dead, which, heavens, who would have thought you get to this day and age and not play Left 4 Dead? Of course, if you haven't, I recommend picking up. But you've got the smoker, which basically has a long-range sort of incapacitation, where they basically got a long-range fishing rod for a tongue, and they then capture you, and then you have to, like, you get caught and you get reeled into them, and then they start attacking you, that sort of thing. The only way you can get out is if someone else has to sort of help you out of it by shooting the zombie, shooting the smoker zombie. There's I don't remember what a boomer, that's what. A boomer zombie, which is just filled with this like noxious bile or whatever, which is, you know, not great, but it's a sort of bile which attracts other zombies. So if you shoot at it, it explodes and explodes on you. Zombies are attracted and will start to attack you. There's another special zombie in Left 4 Dead 1, the base game. What was it? Smoker? Is it Hunter? Hunter. These are ones which sort of just like leap around and then they like incapacitate you. They leap onto you and continuously slash at you. And then there's a tank, which is just a big dude. And by big dude, I mean really big dude, like flips cars sort of dude and that sort of thing. Then you've got Left 4 Dead 2, which introduced 3 more zombies, one of them being a spitter, which puts down like corrosive acid on the ground. Basically, they have a Molotov, I suppose. They have a jockey, which is kind of like a hunter, if anything. They sort of leap onto you, and then once they grabbed onto you, they can sort of make you walk around, and more often than not, makes you walk into obstacles. I can't give you this marigold decoration. I'll just order another one, I guess. Sure, why not? And then the final one is a charger, which does what it says on the tin. It charges at you, and then if it grabs onto you, if it runs into a wall and stops, it'll continuously slam you into the ground. It's basically like a smoker, except for instead of pulling you towards it, it pushes you out of the group. Oh, of course, there's a witch. And witch is special because all of those, they actively, like, I suppose, try and kill you a lot of times. Some of them have, like, different behaviour patterns, which apparently Left 4 Dead's actually got quite an interesting AI system behind it, which I remember reading an article about once. I don't quite recall, but we can get onto that later. Like certain zombies work slightly differently. Like, isn't it like the chargers are super aggressive, but jockeys and hunters tend to hide around corners or something to try and no, maybe it's just the jockeys which try and hide around corners to try and ambush you or something. I don't really recall exactly how it works out, but they have different sort of methodologies, I suppose, to try and end your life, but they all sort of aggressively try and rush at you in the end and try and attack you, more or less. But the witch doesn't, because the witch is basically passive the entire time. It sort of just sits there crying the entire time until you disturb it, either from like a loud explosion, you accidentally shoot it, or you do any sort of damage to it, or anything goes off near it. It suddenly becomes enraged, and then it will just like immediately attack anything on sight and immediately down you if you get hit. And I always thought that was a very interesting sort of different special infected to have to deal with in the game, and I thought it gives a good balance, because a lot of Left 4 Dead is very sort of high octane action a lot of the time. There's like rushes of zombies coming in and you're like, bang bang bang, throw a grenade, it's utter chaos, you know, just we'll make it through this, blah 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 blah. A lot of it is quite chaotic, but to be fair, it's quite a balanced chaos, because they have like lows and they have like peaks and troughs, I suppose, of intensity, which is what a good game should do, and Left 4 Dead does it pretty well. Definitely in part thanks to its rather not involved, but ooh, this looks very pretty, doesn't it? It's like iridescent. It's very in-depth, I suppose. AI system which controls how zombies are released and the waves, and a lot of times you get sort of like much more relaxed moments of gameplay interspersed within the high intensity ones, because that I guess is more fun in the end, which is certainly something I can agree with, and probably you could agree with as well if you've ever played Overwatch, which is, in my opinion, just high intensity all the time and is very tiring. Your mileage may vary, of course. If you like Overwatch, don't let me stop you. But yeah, The Witches is my favourite special infected, I suppose, in Left 4 Dead, because it really brings out a sort of different style of gameplay in that entire game in of itself. It's sort of like promoting stealth gameplay, I suppose, in a very high octane not run and gun sort of shooter, but certainly how I played him was much more of a run and gun sort of shooter, which is a very interesting sort of very slow and methodical way of playing the game compared to your usual strategies, because it's all about sneaking around, trying not to disturb the witch, being careful with what you like throw out there, because you know if there's some zombies which you need to kill at the same time, you don't want to accidentally have a spray bullet tag a witch and suddenly now you got a very very lethal zombie chasing after you as well. And you know, and I suppose this goes for all the zombies in Left 4 Dead. They all have very distinctive sounds which really like tell you of what's coming, but the witch itself is the witch sound, I suppose, due to association of mechanics of witch itself, gives, in my mind, it sort of like sets in the atmosphere a bit much more, because the other zombie sounds you sort of just hear in the heat of battle and all that sort of thing. But like when you're facing off against a witch in Left 4 Dead, a lot of the times you'll just be like in a bit of a lull, below stage, you know, you done the big horde invasion and that sort of thing, and you're walking around and you just hear like a woman sobbing sort of sound. And you're like, oh, there's a witch here. Where's she going to be? We've got to keep an eye out on that sort of thing. And sometimes they expertly, a lot of times, the witch is just like sort of off the side. You can avoid it just by being smart. But sometimes the witch will just be like, all right, it's directly in our way. There's no two ways about it. We're gonna have to like burst through the witch. What are we gonna do? I mean, it's always fun to try and come up with strategies to deal with it. One of the more effective ones, just like throwing a Molotov on it and then just unloading a load of bullets into it, and then hopefully it will die before it can reach anyone. One of my favourite strategies, which is why I like the automatic shotgun so much, is you can sneak up to witch, and then if you just line yourself up with its head, and the automatic shotgun, of course, is a shotgun, but it's automatic, so you can like basically burst fire really rapidly, really quickly. You can just walk up to it, and if you just like rapidly spam, and hopefully have decent enough recoil control, you can just completely annihilate the witch by just overwhelming it with a ridiculous amount of damage before it can even attack you. Which I think is quite fun, but, you know, come see, come ça. Doesn't really make sense in this context, but still. But that's why I like a witch, and it feels like, I suppose it sort of slows the game down in the sense of you had to much more methodically think about how to deal with it rather than just sort of see it, click it. Which I think, by the way, those are good things to have in a zombie sort of shooter game. It's a good thing to have a sort of balance of these sort of things. All in the end, otherwise you'll, I suppose, be overwhelmed. And whatever. If you had to methodically think about every single zombie you came across, you'd be like, oh, this is exhausting. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the reason why. Get this new notification off Apple Hat. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with Level Z. Played quite a few hours of it. You know, I can get it open right now. Well, I'm not going to open it, but I can see how many hours I played of it right now. Just by popping it up. Let's see. Left 4 Dead, where is it? As we make a couple more of these. Left 4 Dead 1, I played 17 hours of. Left 4 Dead 2, played 32.7 hours of. And still, there's about 80 achievements I haven't got in Left 4 Dead 2. That's astonishing. We did, in fact, a lot of them. Yeah, so we played quite a few hours of Left 4 Dead. It's a fun game. Is all I can really say about that. And I don't think it should really come as any surprise, because I think it's quite popularly a fun game. It's not like people play it and be like, oh man, this game sucks. On the whole, and I think a lot of people are kind of like, oh yeah, this is a fun game. But yeah, I played it quite a lot. I remember a lot of the levels, of course. You know, Left 4 Dead 1, you start out with a hospital. Well, you don't start out in the hospital, you start out trying to get to the hospital. It's called like Mercy Hospital or something. I don't actually know if that's right or if I just made it up. I can't remember like any other levels. What other levels come to mind? The fairground level in Left 4 Dead 2. That's a good level. Why? Because you get Gnome Chomsky in it. If you don't know, there's like a secret achievement that you get for like carrying this lawn gnome statue all the way until the finale, until the end, and then boarding the helicopter with a gnome. Hold on, let's see. What do we spend bells to buy items? Bugs. Okay, we'll go catching bugs and fish. And we'll sell that stuff that we got in our inventory. And because obviously it's this Left 4 Dead sort of campaign thing is a thing I played multiple times with a huge variety of different friends, because a lot of my friends had it. I remember one of the times we did it, I played with a friend who was basically very new to the game, so I think we played on an easier difficulty if I remember. So I was like, this is a perfect time to knock out that Gnome Chomsky achievement, and it was a lot of fun doing that, because you can't shoot any guns while holding a gnome, which is why it's such a deficit in the first place. You can only melee things. So it basically turned into a gameplay of being like an escort mission in some sense, or tactically dropping the gnome to fire off a few bullets and then picking it up again, making sure you don't lose it. I believe I got that achievement. This sort of thing where I guess I should check it. Where was it? It's probably in Left 4 Dead 2, right? Have my finger on the button as well, just to make sure I can actually fish up for some fish once it bites. Let's see. Yeah, rescue Gnome Chomsky from a carnival. 28th of November 2012. My word. Oh, what was also such a great thing in Left 4 Dead was the fact that they had a versus mode where you could play as one team plays as the survivors and the other team plays as zombies, and you sort of like alternate back and forth by trying to go through the levels. And it's actually really fun playing as the zombies. You know, you can, of course, you as a human being. I'm not going to say you're smarter than AI, because that kind of depends, I suppose, on the metric you're talking about. But you can play a lot more mind games than AI might not necessarily think about. You know. You can be a lot more sneaky, which is not necessarily something which AIs tend to do. as I understand it. Like some of them do. Like if I remember, oh yeah, I was talking about this before. Of course, some of the zombies behave differently with special zombies, if I recall. And the only one I can remember, I think the Spitter sort of stays out of line of sight. It like spits its acid and it sort of tries to run away to be annoying. And then Hunter sort of just like leaps around like crazy, and Jockey sort of hides away, I think, to try and catch you unexpected. Or is it the Smoker also tries to stay out of line of sight and then tries to catch people who are like isolated? I don't know if these are right or not, and I'm just making them up. I also feel like the Boomer is like they're just like suicidal. They just like try and run into like as close to you as possible to try and like kill as many people as possible, something like that. I don't recall, but like you can employ these sort of strategies while also simultaneously being a human control zombie, which makes it all the more interesting, I suppose, to play. I haven't played the versus mode all that much. I think majority of the time I played them for campaign, and then also they have like an endless survival mode where you is it like you have to get gas canisters or something to fill up a car? Oh yeah, wait, hold on. That's the first level of Left 4 Dead 2. I remember now, which is also the endless survival mode. Is you have to get to like a mall or something, and there's like a show car, and then one of the characters is like a car mechanic, and they're like, oh, if we get enough fuel, we can fill up this car. That's our ticket out of here. And I'm trying to piece together the different chapters. Okay, what Left 4 Dead stories do I even have? I remember, I think it's Left 4 Dead 2. I think it ends up with a finale of you're like trying to run across a bridge or something to get to like a helicopter landing, and it's a really, really long level from what I recall. It's just an incredibly long bridge. It's just like you don't go to, it's not like other levels you go to like other different sites. Actually no, hold on, this must be the last level in the chapter, right? Is you have to cross a bridge or something, and it's the very last campaign level, if I recall, and you basically had to sprint across this bridge. Well, not quite sprint, but you had to make your way across a bridge. And I remember the first time we did it, of course, it was very chaotic. We're still developing. No, you would say not still developing, I suppose, our strategies, but more or less we still weren't perfect at the game or that sort of thing. I remember at one point we like I can't remember exactly if it was justified or not, but it's kind of funny to think back on it. But like at one point, I was like alive, it was me and my friends, and they just kept getting down, and I kept picking them up at one point, and then I kept being like, we had to go fast in this level, you can't really hesitate, otherwise you'll be left behind. But I suppose in my mind back then they were hesitating or whatever, and they kept like getting down and that sort of thing. And at one point I was pushing on ahead, which you might say, hey, you probably shouldn't do that alone, this is a team game in the end. Yeah, I'd agree with you now, but it's kind of funny in retrospect. And then like some of my friends got downed, and they were like, come back and save me. I was like, you know what, I'm sick of it. I'm just going to the end. you lot can stay down. you three can survive by yourself, I'm sure, but I'll just make it to the end. And I was the only one who made it to the end at the end of the day. And you might say part of it perhaps wasn't helped by the fact that they were one person down trying to fight off a horde of zombies, but you might also argue that I was by myself and somehow did not get captured by anything. And to be honest, my strategy worked. My strategy was just, I'm just going to sprint to the end, basically, as fast as possible. Not, like, try and dilly-dally and shoot anything. Or, like, grab anything as I go. I just sprint. And honestly, it worked pretty well. And that, is a funny memory in my mind. Maybe it's not a funny memory if you're one of my friends who played with me at that time. And it's like, ugh, shakes fist. How dare Dill leave us behind? But I find it quite fondly in my heart. There's also a few times, I suppose, where we played the versus mode in, of course, Left 4 Dead, where you play as the zombies, and there's numerous times I remember where we would maybe not we would, at least I remember using the charger and charging people off like buildings and off of bridges and that sort of things, sort of like a suicide run to take off a player character at the same time. That's always good fun. What else did we used to do in Left 4 Dead? There was a fantastic moment where a tank got locked into an elevator with us somehow. We were like, because you had to try and go like in a hotel elevator or something to escape, and then we were just like, quick, run. And then suddenly a tank appears, and we're like, we'll make it in time. And then the tank got trapped in with us, and then someone threw a Molotov down, and it was just absolute chaos. As you can imagine, trying to fight like a giant hulking, actually it looks like a Hulk, to be honest, monstrosity of a zombie inside like a 2 meter by 2 meter square space with all four of you, and the ground's on fire. We all died, from what I recall. That was a great time as well. It was also a fantastic time where one of the levels you had to go through like a very dimly lit and darkly lit office. We were walking around and we just kept hearing the noises of a tank, which sounds like an elephant, by the way. It sounds like And we're like, we can hear his tank. Where is his tank? I have no idea. And then I like opened one of like the storage cupboards in the office to be like, you know, try and look for supplies and that sort of thing. And the tank was literally just in there, just like knocked me. I just opened it, I saw it, closed the door, ran away. As the tank chased me, took down some of my friends, you know? It's just happened in a zombie survival situation. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Am I saying would I behave like that in an actual zombie apocalypse? No, probably not. I'd probably be a bit more cooperative, but also I'd probably die in a zombie apocalypse. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to be any good at surviving the zombie apocalypse. I think I talked about this before, but yeah. The long and short of it is, Left 4 Dead is a fun game, and it's cool. Back 4 Blood is doing so well. That's what it's called, right? But yeah, Back 4 Blood. It's got so many players playing it. Did we not customize items? I thought we did already. Maybe we didn't. We'll hit rocks. We should probably help Gulliver. But we'll hit rocks and then we'll customize some items. But yeah, it's cool to see it's doing so well. I don't super know or what's going on with Back 4 Blood, but Back 4 Blood has like different characters have like different perks, right? Which is not a thing which happened in the first Left 4 Dead. The first Left 4 Dead, all the characters were functionally identical. They just had different personalities, you know. Who did I play as? I think I played as Zoe in Left 4 Dead 1 and probably played as Rush Islands in Left 4 Dead 2. I don't really recall all that well. Honestly, all the characters are very entertaining. Well, what's that thing that Lewis always says? Not the Peels here, but Bills here. Sort of thing that he always yells at. What's that? we kept quoting him all the time. I think it's one of the friendly fire things, like I'm on your side. But that doesn't sound right. Maybe I can find it. Hold on. Is there like a list of Left 4 Dead Lewis voice lines? Left 4 Dead Lewis voice lines. Quotes and captions. It's something like, please stop shooting me. Yes responses. No. Taunt. Hold on. Health. Taking pills. Zoe dies. Critically low. Where is Zoe? If Zoe is incapacitated outside a safe room, I didn't know they had such specific ones. Hanging from ledge. Reviving survivor. Weapon related. Infected. Friendly fire. Do I look like one of them? That doesn't matter. Why are you shooting? Watch what you're shooting. What? Knock it off. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. Look at my face. Do I look like one of them? Hey man, that's not cool. That's it. That's what we always used to call. Hey man, that's not cool. As Lewis's friendly fire quote, which became a little bit of a meme in our circles during secondary schools and growing up. Hey man, that's not cool. It's all coming back to me. Oh yeah, did I ever talk about the sound effects which the special infected make? As I say, the tank makes like an elephant sounding noise. I wonder if it actually is an elephant cry. Because you know, fairly artists, they always stick together a load of different like sound effects all stitched together all weirdly, and it somehow makes the sound, and you sort of listen to it and be like, what? How did you even come up with that? Don't know, but I'd imagine it's some sort of like reverberated, remixed elephant trumpet noise. For which, of course, makes it the sobbing woman sound. Very eerie. Sends a shiver up your back. What does the smoker just coughs that thing? He just goes, from my recall. I don't remember what Boomer does. I think he just goes like, oh, you know. Whenever you think of like something filled with water, some sort of like inflated balloon type of enemy, you always think it makes like a whoa, whoa, whoa sound. The hunter just screams, if I recall. Just goes, rah, rah. What an entertaining section of Animal Crossing this is. Well, it's a fantastic, top tier commentary, you know. I like to think I've improved in my commentary skills since day one, and here I am just making weird sounds trying to impersonate Infected from Left 4 Dead. But it's fun. The jockey, I remember, just has like hysterical laughter, right? Just goes like, what is it? Spit? I can't remember what Spit does. I think it just makes like weird like gargle noises, like, right? Also, when Charger. Wait, maybe the Charger makes the elephant noise. God, honest, maybe they both make elephant noises. I don't know. Anyway, of course, after playing through Left 4 Dead 2, there's always a word on everyone's lips. Where's Left 4 Dead 3? And then the sad realization that because Valve made the game, there's never going to be a Left 4 Dead 3. And especially now, there's super never going to be a Left 4 Dead 3 because Valve is not focused on making games anymore. They're like more like making systems of experience, I suppose. Ah, we have more flowers to clear up. I forgot. Which is fair enough. I mean, it's kind of up to, I suppose, in their company what they want to make. But I feel like we're pretty good at making games from what I hear. TF2, fantastic game. Can't wait for TF3 to eventually be out. Hashtag never. Especially, of course it's got to be out soon, you know. They said they've stopped updating TF2. That means they're working on TF3, right? Hope. Of course, that's never going to happen, unfortunately. Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. Never actually played them, believe it or not. But I hear they're very good. I do own them. Actually, I've played like 5 minutes of Half-Life 2. But for some reason, I never got around to beating it. I think it's a very fun game. It's a very good game. It's world-renowned. Half-Life Alyx came out, and people love that as well, from what I can hear. Hit rocks customized. That's what we need to do. What else did they make? They made Left 4 Dead. They made TF2. They made Half-Life. They made one other game. Portal, of course. Portal and Portal 2. Never going to be Portal 3, which saddens me deeply because I love the Portal series. Unsurprisingly, because I love puzzle games, and I think Portal is a fantastic puzzle game. It's not a controversial opinion. I hope I don't think. Wait, what? I don't think. Of course, your mileage may vary, depending on how much you like puzzle games. But yeah, you know, Valve kind of knock it out of the park when it comes to games. Shame they don't make any anymore. Haha, haha, funny joke, Half-Life. Haha, Valve can't count to 3. Or something. But if anything, Half-Life Alyx is meant to be Half-Life 3, as I understand it. And, that's craft and things. Back 4 Blood is... I mean, it's not made by Valve. It's something like the developers from Left 4 Dead moved to that studio to make Back 4 Blood. But yeah, I don't know. Am I going to play Back 4 Blood at some point? Maybe? I don't know. I wonder how much of it is nostalgia from Left 4 Dead. I suppose that's always a fit whenever you play a game when you're younger. You're like, oh man, I love this game so much. I'm going to play it all the time. And when you play it in modern day, you're like, it didn't hold up nearly as well as I thought it did. Or maybe it still kind of holds up, but a lot of it was just due to, you know, the people I played with, not necessarily the game itself. The game was much more of a medium, I suppose, for enjoyment rather than necessarily the driver. Does that make sense? I don't even know if that makes sense. We did fishing. Let's customize a fishing rod. This is not me being like, oh, I think Back 4 Blood is going to be a bad game. Back 4 Blood is going to be a bad game. I think, and from what I've heard, it's very fun and very enjoyable, and a lot of people are having a blast playing it. It's just, I don't know if I'm going to play it. You know? It's hard to say. Did we get the Nook Kamal login bonus for today? I don't know. I don't know why that took me so long to think about the words, but there you go. So yeah, if you're playing Back 4 Blood and you're having a grand old time with it, tell me how it is. Is it fun? I hear it's a lot of fun. Maybe someday I'll check it out. I guess we should do a Nook shopping so we can get the marigold thing. I was surprised there's no Halloween stuff for sale in the Nook shopping terminal. Isn't that kind of surprising? You know, Halloween's only in 4 days as well. That's soon. Is all I can say about that. That's very soon. But yeah, I don't know, what else do I have to say about Back 4 Blood? Glad to see it's doing well. Seems cool. Can't remember any of the characters in it. There's a character called like Mum. Oh, sorry, Mom. Their mum. I think. And that's about it. Can I remember all the Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 characters' names? Of course. You got Francis. You got Louis. Oh, Lewis. Actually, it's not Louis. That's B-Stars, I guess. Zoe. You got Bill. And in Left 4 Dead 2, you got... Rochelle. Coach. Ellis? Or like Elliot or something? I think it's Ellis. And... Nick. There we go. See? Told you I remembered it. I wonder if people are drawing those sort of parallels. Not parallels between... I wonder if people think Back 4 Blood actually is Left 4 Dead 3, is what I was going to say. Obviously people think that, but like, I wonder how true to the experience it actually is. Because it certainly seems like it's got different systems going on. Like, at least when I was watching it, I didn't like look into the systems all too much, but it gave me an impression. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, this kind of seems like it's got the Dead by Daylight sort of like what's the Dead by Daylight one called? Like spider web perk system or something going on at the same time, which is interesting because that obviously is much more of a modern thing in video games rather than an old-fashioned things where you sort of like just have a vanilla experience. You don't have like your own perks to customize exactly the way you play, and in some ways that's good, in some ways it's bad. Like obviously good customization, you can sort of choose how you want to play it. Like maybe if I played, I can get my own perks, which gave me like a more automatic shotgun ammo or something like that, or I can like fire more rapidly. I don't know. But also, it feels a bit weird in the sense that I like hopefully the perks sort of don't offset that the game should be fun at its core value itself, right? And the difficulty should be balanced around that, probably. I don't know. I suppose that's more like on the developer's choice, exactly how to call those shots. Not mine. But yeah, Back of Blood, if you're having fun, cool. If you're not, also cool. I guess that's less cool, but I guess I mean like fair. But yeah, I guess we'll round off this episode here. Left 4 Dead, it's a fun game. If you haven't played it, play it. If you haven't been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.